Hey everybody, welcome into the Xfinity Series Throwback Reviews. It is Saturday, we are getting ready for the Xfinity race, so we're going to go ahead and have this one go up, hopefully shortly before the Xfinity race, internet providing, of course. So if the internet lets it happen, we'll have these up, but we'll start low to high, so we're starting with the number 0 of Jeffrey Earnhardt, who's throwing back to Dale Earnhardt's kind of Stars and Stripes paint scheme that he ran. So you can see it would have the silver number 3, and then it had the stars on the front, the stripes in the back. So outside of that, you can kind of tell what it is, but without the number font, it is a little tough to see if it's for sure the right throwback. But it's for at least from this view, it's noticeable what car it is. So the next one, actually, this is beautiful. This is Michael Annett throwing back to Darrell Waltrip's Gatorade car, which I don't even remember the last time we had Gatorade in the Cup or in the Xfinity Series, but it still looks really nice. Basic white scheme with the green stripe. I don't know. I think this is one of the better throwbacks. Now, it's not the best. I've got one other one in mind, but this is a pretty solid one. So I like it. The old Gatorade logo too. They have the correct throwback logo, which always helps. This one is Myatt Snider, I guess, throwing back to his own family somewhere along the lines. I don't know. I don't know what he's throwing back to. It looks like a pretty modern paint scheme, so it looks good. It's a good-looking car. Don't get me wrong, but not quite sure what they're throwing back to. I'm trying to see. No, those aren't the little diamonds, so I don't know what they're throwing back to on this one. Ryan Vargas. I mean, what do you have to say about this one? This is a great Mark Martin throwback. I mean, it's clearly a throwback to the Valvoline car. They got the font right on the 6. At least to the best of their abilities. Can't tell for sure if that's exactly right, but it's close enough for me. I know what it's throwing back to. That's the main sign. But they did the colors too, which always, of course, makes it look good too. So that's a pretty good throwback. Not the best, but it's up there. I'd put it below the number 1 Gatorade car. This is awesome. This is, when they say throwback, Joe Graff Jr. decided to run a DeLorean. That's right. This is the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and you can see they have bucked up in the Back to the Future type font or logo, and I'm digging this car. I really want to get one of these because it looks fantastic. I mean, just looking at it, it looks pretty darn cool, having the little wiring all running down the side of the quote-unquote DeLorean. So that's pretty cool. Now, I want to know if he's going to put a flux capacitor in his car somewhere. Just somewhere. Just put a little unit for the flux capacitor. Also, when he hits 88 miles an hour, will it just, leave trails and then to disappear? Justin Allgaier, this is a throwback to the number 3 Coca-Cola car. Obviously, they ran Goodwrench also on that car, but you can see all red car. They kind of did the font right. Look at the 7. So when you have the top of the 7, that does look like the top of the 3. So they actually did a really good job on that font. But we've got the good humor instead of good wrench ice cream on there. So it's a pretty unique throwback. I'm digging this one. I like it. Everyone kind of has to know what this one is. If you don't, I guess you maybe aren't old enough or haven't watched enough. I mean, I didn't even watch this race live, and I know what it's from. This is the 2001 All-Star race scheme that Dale Jr. won in. You can see this actually Dale Jr. and Mikey on the side of the car here, and then they tried to extend the 8 without getting sued. So we'll see how if that's far enough. But yeah, Tire Pros put it pretty good scheme together on this one, so I like it. Let's see, Jeb Burton thrown back to Ward Burton, 1995 MBNA car. You can see the look of it there. The one downside is they didn't match the color. So the green is neon green, and then they used a yellow number on the roof instead of the darker green, which, I mean, they're throwing it back to that scheme, yes, but at the same time they are missing, they are still missing the real part of the scheme, which is the color. I guess this is a throwback to 2014, but it's the first leaf filter car, so basically it's the regular filter with a little bit of blue added, which, by the way, I like, so I'm good with it, but I like this blue on the car. They should probably just bring it back, but that's what they're throwing back to, is the original Blake Cook car from the Cup Series when they were with, I think it was it Green Racing? It wasn't Go Fast at that time. In 2014, it was like Go Green or something. It was Go Green Racing or something like that. I can't remember, but I remember it was like a green energy type of team at that time, I believe. But correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Oh, I mean, this is awesome. So this is Matt Jaskell. He is running for, I believe it's Carl Long. They actually drug this car to the track on a trailer. Not the hauler, they took it on a pickup and trailer to the track like this. So I'm loving that part of it already. And I mean, what can you say? They've got the sponsor looks correct on the hood. Obviously, it's a different sponsor, but you know they've got it to look right. The 13 font is correct. The paint scheme is correct. All that you need is a boatload of contingency sponsors, and you're good. But really, really good throwback here. Let's see. This is Colby Howard throwing back to Rodney? Yeah, Rodney Howard. Looks pretty good. I mean, 15, 16, close enough. You know, they added, obviously the sponsors had to be on there in a couple places, but that's cool, especially for him to get to throw back to his family. So that's a pretty good looking throwback. I mean, what can you say? This is a good throwback. A. Allmendinger throwing back to his 2014 car. You can see they literally got the front logo to try and match Scott's. The other logo, colleague on the back, to match the Bush Beans logo. Kingsford logo is kind of matched in there as well. Colors are correct. Paint scheme is correct. Font is correct. I mean, at the end of the day, they did make this a really good throwback because you look at it, you immediately know 2014. Yep. You know, that's a sign they did a good job. And making the logos match to the best of their ability. Did a good job on that. This is a throwback to Matt Kenseth's 2012 car that he and Tony Stewart got into it. So this was an interesting race when those two wrecked and Tony chucked the helmet. But obviously they probably couldn't get the rights to the font for the 17 because it's owned by Roush, which is a Ford company, or you know they're kind of tied with Ford. So not sure if they were allowed to get those or not. But you know we can look at it and we know exactly what it was for. It's supposed to be the 17 Valvoline car. This is actually a cool one. Daniel Hemrick's Poppy Bank car. They didn't change the font on the number, which is okay. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world because they did get the paint scheme right on there. But it's a Red Farmer car. I like it if they would have changed the number font. But outside of that, I mean, it's still a pretty solid throwback when you look at it. It's harder to tell with these newer cars because of the shape of the car. Like a paint scheme on these cars just looks so different. I mean, look at the picture in the background there. You can see how short the door was at that time and how tall the door is now, so they have to kind of make up for that space. But it was a solid throwback nonetheless. This is a good one. Brandon Jones throwing back to Todd Bodion's car. This is a good car. I mean, I saw this immediately and thought, boom, Truck Series, Todd Bodion. I knew it. So the change in number font, they got the paint scheme there. They've got Toyota kind of fitting within the emblem of the old Lumber Liquidators logo. I mean, good throwback for Brandon Jones. Let's see. Harrison Burton throwing back to, I want to say it's this is a terrible throwback. They're throwing back to the Holiday Inn car. So they changed the logo and made it kind of cursive to match Holiday Inn, but they didn't use the right color. So you really don't know what they're throwing back to. The only reason I know is because they announced it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any idea what they're throwing back to. So, yeah, this one's not very good. Like, if you're going to throw back, you got to use the right colors. If you change the colors, it doesn't look very good. So, unfortunately, that's the issue with this one, is that, it's supposed to be the Holiday Inn car, but it's not the right color, not the right number font, and then not the right sponsor. So you have none of the right elements. Does it look terrible? No, but it doesn't look like much of a throwback to me. Winner of the year. The number 26, Sam Hunt, I think it's Snapmobile, but, I mean, you can tell. That's supposed to be Hot Wheels. I mean, this is a Hot Wheels car, and it looks great. So this is my winner of the year so far. I love this Hot Wheels car. It looks awesome. I hope it looks as good on track as it does on the picture, but I love this 26 car. I mean, we all know this is the 44 Hot Wheels car that Kyle Petty drove. So Alex LeBay, you can see he's throwing back to, looks like, who is that? Is that Kawicki? I can't tell who's in that background there. Oh, Kenny Wallace. I couldn't even read down there. Kenny Wallace, the Red Dog throwback. So they actually have the Herminator, which is pretty cool. So they got Kenny Wallace throwback there. The font is correct. The paint scheme is correct. I don't see any issue on this one. This one's pretty solid. I actually really like the paint scheme. They should probably just run with this all the time. It's a good paint scheme. I mean, is it really hard to tell what this is? This is obviously the number 47 throwing back to Richard Petty. I mean, there's no other questions. Like, we know this is a Petty throwback. Looks good nonetheless. They got it right. They got, as many of the they got the number font changed. Looks right. They got the colors right. Looks good. Jade Buford. Let's see. What's he running? 48 Hot Wheels car. Huh. I got to remember which one he's throwing back to. I don't think I have a list on this one as far as which car he's thrown back to. I mean, it looks clearly like a throwback, but it looks pretty good. It looks like it's Dan Gurney on this one. So I don't see the original. I'm not sure what he raced or what series it was in, but I see the big machine up there on the hood, so I'm thinking it's one of the older cars where they used to have the horsepower written across the hood. This is top tier. Jeremy Clements with the ASE, quote unquote, but it's also a UPS throwback to 2006. This was Jarrett's final year in the Ford for that. So I like this car. They got the font, or not the font, they got the paint scheme right on, they got the colors right on, and then they made the logo kind of match on the hood. So, man, if I had to pick, I might do this as my favorite throwback, though. I'm loving the colors on this. Ty Gibbs, Interstate Batteries throwback. This is Dale Jarrett's 1993 Daytona 500 winning car. Kyle Busch threw back to this a couple years ago in, I think, 2016. So it's a good-looking car nonetheless, but it has been thrown back to before, and I don't know. It's not terrible. I just wonder if they could have had any other options for that Interstate Battery scheme, something, Labonte-esque, because they've thrown back to this one already. But still a good-looking car. There's no doubt about that. Can't go wrong with Interstate Batteries, green and black. Let's see. Is this Timmy Hill? Who's running this one? It's either David Starr or Timmy Hill. I think it's David Starr. But he's running the Whataburger throwback with Hattori Racing. So this one is just, I'm not sure who he's thrown back to, but just the basic Whataburger car. And then, obviously, we got the changed font. So not sure who specifically it's thrown back to, but, I mean, if you look at it, you immediately know, well, that's a throwback because of the number font, or the number styling. Oh, this is a beauty. This is a 2004 Rusty Wallace Duraflame throwback for Timmy Hill. This looks awesome because the flames are right on point. They made the logos close enough. And then, I mean, the roof, bright yellow roof with the red numbers. That looks solid. I like that throwback. So that's a good throwback there. If only it was on a Dodge. Luckily, Rusty drove Fords too, so it's not too bad. There's another throwback. This is Brandon Brown throwing back to the 2003-2004 UPS scheme. It looks like that's probably 2003, just judging by the BMS logo, because it's not the newer style logo. But yes, Brandon Brown threw back to the UPS car as well. So you can see the 68, which is on the same font as what the 88 would be for the Robert Yates racing car. Very solid throwback. I'm not going to lie. I like this one. Let's see. Bailey Curry throwing back to Bobby Allison's 1981 car. My biggest issue with this car has nothing to do with it. I just wish they could actually put chrome numbers on the car. I don't like the fact that they can't have chrome numbers. I just think it's time to let them have the chrome numbers back, But yeah, so they got the chrome numbers on the original, but not on this one. But still a good-looking car. There's no doubt about that. And BJ McLeod running our number 90 Ultra Seal car, but obviously instead it's bucked up, and then I believe there's a Schrader? Yeah, it's Kenny Schrader. Oh, it's a Kenny Schrader throwback, so they just added his name to the back because they probably didn't have a sponsor. But yeah, I mean, the number is correct. It's 90, throwing back to 90. You can see it's leaning forward. They got the right font, the right paint scheme, looking pretty darn solid, I'd say. And they even copied the Kenny Schrader logo up on the name rail for the BJ McLeod, so I like this one. This is a pretty good throwback. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be running all that well, but that's unfortunate. And let's see, we got the 92. This is Josh Williams throwing back to whatever that is. That looks like a Rusty Cruz. You can see that beat up old race car, and they threw back to it, and it looks awesome. They've got this rusty background with looks like a spray painted number. Just looks beat up to heck. I mean, it looks beat up, and it hasn't even started the race, so that's gonna be kind of fun. But I'm not gonna lie, it's the first I've seen like this, and I kind of like it. And the last one we've got is last one? No, we got two more. The second to last one is the Riley Herbst. They're throwing back to the 2002 Tony Stewart Home Depot car. So you can see they changed the front of it, so it looks like the Home Depot logo in terms of the lettering. 98, they changed the font, which I don't know because it doesn't have a 2 or a 0 in it, so I'm not 100% sure what that's supposed to look like, but it's a good-looking car. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a solid-looking paint scheme. It always has been. I think Edwards threw back to it once. I think somebody else threw back to it a couple years later, so it's been thrown back to a couple times, but it's always a good car. And the last one is Ryan Ellis running the Corvette parts, number 99. You can see, actually, it's got like the engine and stuff going off the side here. I'm not 100% sure what it's throwing back to on this one. It's one of the throwback cars, so I have to double check and find out what they're throwing back to exactly, but it's a good car nonetheless. But I think my absolute favorite, Got to be this one. Got to be the Jeremy Clements car. This is my favorite. It just, the colors. I think the colors are what make this car look so good. The Brandon Brown one's really good. The Hot Wheels one is really good. But this one, I love the colors. So there's a lot of good ones. But this is probably my favorite. So anyway, that will wrap up the Xfinity throwback reviews. Be sure to tune in to the Xfinity race today if you haven't already planned to. But after the race, we will have a live stream where we do some opening of some new boxes that came in. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Other than that, this has been Race Craze. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the race today, and we'll see you in the next Paint Scheme Review.